Well, if you don't know me, my name is Ally, and like Mark said, I'm over outreach and finances here. How long have I been up here? 2, maybe going on 3 years, maybe. I mean, it's got to be more than 2 days because I was here last week, so at least 7 days, 7 days at the max. Oh, okay. I guess that makes sense. Yeah. No. Oh, well, you're funny. So, what else about me? Well, I'm gonna tell my story, just a small portion of it to really. I mean, the whole one's too long. I'm a little old, so. But so I come from a divorced family, and I think I'm gonna talk about that tonight, about how my parents got a divorce and how that affected me and my family and my siblings. And I'm sure some of you out here are going through or live in a divorced and split up home. So I'm going to talk about that a little bit. Well, where do I start? So my parents, they split up whenever I was in first grade. So I was really little. But it was still pretty hard. I mean, it's not fun when your dad's there and then he all of a sudden leaves and moves to a different house or wherever he went. Maybe you don't know. And it's hard, Jackson. Oh. Yeah, so that happened in first grade. So my mom was a single mom for a really long time, and she owned her own business and she did nails. So she worked really early in the morning and really late at night. So it was just me, my brother, and my little sister, which most of you know is Abby. Abby's my little sister. So I'm the middle child, so I have an older brother, it's me, and then Abby. And then we took in my aunt, so she's kind of like my older sister. But it was just us for a really long time because my mom worked really late. But through that time, it was hard. My dad sometimes would be there and then say he would come and get me and then never show up. Or, he'd come get my brother and not want to get me. Because I was in first grade. So it was really hard to go from being daddy's little girl to never seeing him for a really long time, for years. I felt forgotten and unloved, and that he didn't want to see me, and I didn't know what was wrong with that. And then a little after that, my mom got remarried, and that's my stepdad. That's who we live with now. He's been there forever, but we moved schools, and my brother really didn't like that very much. Later on, we found out he had a lot of mental issues that we didn't know until way later. But he wasn't very nice, and he would beat up on me a lot. Not kind of like whenever, brothers and sisters, you fight, you bicker. This came to be more bruises, more things that my mom didn't know about for a really long time. And from that, I managed to always make sure Abby was okay. I took the beating so that she didn't have anything happen to her. Because I wanted to protect her. I was the person that was there. I was the older sibling in the home to make sure that she didn't get hit, didn't get an arm broken or anything like that. And that happened. He did that for a really long time, and then we found out that he's like bipolar and all kinds of crazy things. But it was really hard to have to go through my parents being married, my parents being divorced, my brother abusing me, and then having to become my little sister's mom. My mom worked a lot, wasn't there. And we'd still go see my dad every other weekend when he would come and get us. So I had to change her diapers, make sure she got fed. Literally anything else, make sure she had medicine. And that's hard when you're in 6th grade, all the way up to, which would be 8th grade. I was that person for her. I was the one that made sure that she had those things, and having to make sure that my brother didn't beat me up, didn't beat my mom up, didn't beat Abby up, all because he couldn't figure out his mental issues and wanted to blame someone else for his own problems. And that's really hard, because when you're in 5th grade, 6th grade, 7th grade, and you never get any sleep, and you still have to make sure you get your homework done and your tests and your grades passed, and it's something that's really taken a toll on my life. I know that you guys see me and I'm the happy, chippery person that you all know me as, the crazy lady that runs around the hall. But it hasn't been all like that. Sometimes you just have to learn to let things go, and not let your past overtake you. But going through those times in my life and moving through the divorce, my brother being my little sister's mom, it was really scary and it was really hard. And I'm sure some of you have felt that way. It's hard to forgive my older brother, to forgive my real dad for not being there or beating me up and doing all the hard things. It really changed my life a lot, and it's made me who I am. I've always managed to put people first, and I've become everyone's mom, just because I want to take care of everyone now. That's who I am. That's how I want everything to come about it. But through that, God brought me through one of the darkest and toughest part in my life. And I know I can look back now, and I've learned now that he never left me. He never forsaken me. He was always there. He made sure we had food on the table. He made sure that, I didn't die, or that my brother didn't die. There was a lot of stuff. It was really hard to feel like you're forgotten, or to feel like no one loved me, but to know that God was still there. So there's one verse that still really hits me pretty hard now, and it's Isaiah 41:10, and it says, "Don't worry, because I'm with you. Don't be afraid, because I'm your God. I will make you strong, and I will help you, and I will support you, and support you with my right hand that saves you." So with that verse, it still shows me that even through all the tough things that I've been through, that God was still there, and he supported me and my family and my mom. And that I can always be strong in the moments that I don't feel like I'm very strong. And it's hard for me to not worry about certain things. So I don't live at home, but I still worry about my little sister a lot, just because I'm not there anymore. And I was the person that raised her and supported her and made sure that she was fed every night for so long. And now that I'm not there, it's hard for me to not have to worry about her. And I think some of you older siblings can understand that, even just the smallest bit. Because you see your younger siblings growing up, and you want to be, you want to see them grow, you want to help them, you want to move them along. Because what you're feeling times that by 10, and that's kind of how I feel about Abby. Just because there was just so much. There's so much that I went through that words can't describe, that I just can't explain to you what I went through in those times. And it was so long. Like, I wish I could explain it so much better, but words can't really describe how you just never know when the police are going to show up, when your brother's going to freak out, or who's going to show up at the house. Like, your home is where you go to stay safe and be comfortable, and sometimes it wasn't like that. Like I said, I would stay up all night long because I'd be afraid that my brother was going to beat up my mom. And I mean, you shouldn't have to do that when you're 10. I mean, I was younger than you, and I was raising my little sister and staying up all night long, hoping that my brother wouldn't beat up my mom. And that's something that none of you should have to go through, something I shouldn't have had to go through. But it brought me to the person I am today, and God is the only one that I can honestly think that brought me through that, brought my family through that. He's the only reason that I have somewhat of a relationship with my brother, even today, even after everything that he did to me. I didn't write this in my notes, but I really feel like I should talk about it. Forgiveness is really hard to do. I still to this day probably won't have the best relationship with my brother or even my real dad. But I had to forgive them for me. If I wanted any sort of life or comfort in myself, I had to let that go. I had to give it to God, and he had to be the one to judge them. I couldn't let that continue to rule over my life. So I did. I let it go, and if that's one thing that I could honestly enforce tonight, would be to forgive. Because we've all been wronged, and we all hold grudges, but you've got to let it go. I mean, God says we're supposed to forgive, so I think we should forgive. But really, it's for you. It helps you get through things, and I don't think if I didn't forgive them, I wouldn't be able to sit in the same room with them or have any type of relationship with them, especially my brother. And now he's got 2 kids and married, and he's super great now, which is only God can do that. You can't take a bipolar, drug-dealing, abusive person and turn them into a father of 2 beautiful girls and be an entrepreneur and be a great guy like he is. There's nothing else you can do. So, and then I think there's one more verse that really also has helped me. It's 1 Timothy 4:12, and it says, "Do not let anyone treat you as if you are unimportant, because you are, because you're young. Instead, be an example to the believers with your words, your actions, your love, your faith, and your pure life." So, I'm that for my brother. I just want to love him and show him, and that just because he was so wrong to me, that I can still show him with my words and my actions in my life to know that God still loves him, God still loves me, and that we're still a family no matter what. Sorry. I didn't expect to go towards my brother so much, but I did. I feel like everyone has that same person in their life, even though you're not getting abused by them, but you have that person that's just not that good in your life. The one that's just like, oh, you're a Christian, that's cool. Or, oh, you're my neighbor, that's fine, I can still be mean to you. The kid on the playground that's like, oh, I'll kick you because I can. I mean, oh, Jackson, it's okay. They don't have to kick you when you're down. Yeah. Y'all kicking Jackson while he's down? Oh. It's okay, Jackson, you pray for them. Oh my gosh. Ugh. Anyway. Okay, let's get back to it. God always has a plan for your life. You may not see it now, but you'll see it in the future. And I feel like this is my future. This is my plan. This is what God has for me, is to be right here in front of you. If you would have asked me a couple years ago, this is not where I would be. I do not like talking in front of the microphone. Makes me sweat. It is not a fun time. But because of where I've been with my brother, where I've been in my life, I get to sit here and I get to tell you my story, and I get to fulfill the journey that God has led me through and the plan for my life and my wherever he brings me next. So if there's one last thing that I could pour into you or let you know or give you any advice for what I've learned from my experience that hopefully that you could take away, is to forgive, to not let anyone get you while you're down, and to always pray. God is always there. He never has forgotten about you. You're always important to him, and he's never left you. As alone as you feel, he is always right there next to you. Just because you can't see him or feel him or, physically touch him does not mean he's not there. You can pick it up. He's always there. He's always your person, and all you have to do is ask him to be there and help you.